Generally yields back, and you did break it down. Everyone is in there. They can't police themselves, so much so that they actually searched members of Congress, individuals in the body responsible for setting their budget. If that's not a problem, I don't know what is. The gentleman from Alabama is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, what is the purpose of Woods procedures?
As I understand it, the Woods procedures they're an internal mechanism in the Justice Department and the FBI to try to be sure that there's adequate vetting before a warrant application is filed in the FISA court.
You think the Woods procedures should be codified, given that the FBI is failing to follow their own procedures?
I'm not sure codifying them would be that useful. I think much more useful would be to adopt the kind of amicus participation mechanism that we've discussed earlier.
So what other kind of procedures are in place to protect against malign use of the FISA? What would you recommend? You mentioned the amica, but are there other procedures in place that should be protecting the American citizens?
With respect to the Title I process, I think the amicus provision that we've discussed is the most useful. If we look at FISA more broadly and include Section 702, then I think the other three reforms that we've discussed here today would be extremely important. A general warrant requirement before the FBI can search the communications of Americans, for one thing. Tightening up the electronic communication service provider definition that was unfortunately broadened in the last version of the reauthorization, tightening that up so that it excludes any entities other than data centers, which apparently is what the FBI was trying to ensure that they could get at there. There's just no reason to basically dragoon churches and small businesses into conducting surveillance on behalf of the NSA and the FBI. And then closing the data broker loophole so that if the government wants to buy data from data brokers that contains lots of personal data about individuals, before they can search that data, they have to get a warrant to do that, just like we're proposing that they have to get a warrant in order to search the 702 database.
I'm going to change gears on you a minute, Mr. Chair. You represented Carter Page in his lawsuits against the FBI, correct?
Correct.
During Crossfire Hurricane investigation, Mr. Page actually reached out to the FBI and offered to be interviewed. Is that correct?
And offered to help them.
Gotcha,
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Why did he reach out to the FBI, I guess would be the first question.
Well, he was already helping the CIA with concerns that they had about things going on in Russia, and when he learned that there was some FBI interest, I think he felt like, maybe I can be helpful to the FBI as well.
Why do you think they turned down the opportunity to interview Mr. Page?
Well, I think the independent investigation of that investigation showed that the FBI was, or elements in the Justice Department were trying to investigate the incoming administration, and they were trying to create the appearance of a tie between the incoming administration and Russia. And Carter Page was the one staffer who had some well-established contacts in Russia, and so they chose to focus on him.
Was that part of the reason they went after General Flynn, too? You think the whole Russian collusion narrative was a part of that, or was that a separate investigation?
I think it was closely related.
Good. Thank you. Mr. Holman, Mr. Tolman, I'm going to hit real quick with you. What type of information do law enforcement agencies, what are they purchasing from data brokers, and what are they using it for?
Well, as you know, there's so much data that is collected that from outside the government that there's really no limit to what they can purchase that can be obtained through online use, through emails, through other data points, financial institutions. They're really, if you think about it, it could be in its worst form the ability to collect everything that they can't collect under a warrant, without a warrant.
Very dangerous, I would assume.
Correct.
For personal privacy and certainly for our amendments to protect those privacies. In 2023, the FBI admitted to buying precise geolocation data derived from mobile phone advertising. What should Congress do about this?
You know, I became aware of individuals, for example, that traveled to Washington, D.C., were not traveling on January 6th to their rally, were not entering the Capitol. They simply were traveling. All of their location was obtained. No warrant. So Congress has to recognize that any thought that internal regulation is going to control the use of power by the FBI is going to fail.
Does that get back to the Fox Guard and the hen houses?
That's
you
correct.
mentioned earlier?
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'm running out of time, so I'll yield back. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
not only their location, they got their bank records, they got what they bought, they overlaid that. If they banked at the Bank of America, they overlaid that if they ever purchased a firearm. So, well said. Gentleman from Illinois.